Welcome everyone to the February 16th Commissioners Meeting. Join me in pleasant allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. We've looked at our minutes and accounts payable and vouchers, payroll docket, entertaining motion.
I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes in February, accounts payable vouchers and the payroll docket.
I second that.
Okay, all those in favor signify by aye. Ms. Patty, you have the floor.
We are here to open up proposals for the owner occupied rehab program for our home inspector. So I'm going to take just a minute and open these up. Let's see. First one is from DSA Home Inspection Services out of Dillsboro. Initial inspection with photos would be $200. Final inspection with photos would be $50 for $250 per house. And a cost not to exceed $4,500. And that would be for 18 houses minimum. And the next one looks like it's from National Property Inspections. For National Property Inspections, it looks like the initial home inspection would be $300 per unit and then $150 per unit for the final construction once the work is complete. He doesn't give a not to exceed, but that's okay. That's just based on 18 homes. So we can either take these under advisement for review. I've actually worked with both of these companies and they've both been excellent to work with. We've worked with them on our previous owner occupied rehab programs. So it's up to you guys if you would like me to make a recommendation or if you want me to review them a little bit further and
Would it help speed things up if we?
do it tonight. Yes.
Especially since you've worked.
Do you have any questions on?
Not at
Okay,
all.
okay.
I've worked with them both regularly, so I feel very comfortable with both of them. And just, I mean, what it boils down to is probably the price. And I would
Exactly.
recommend then that we go with DSA Home Inspections.
Okay.
He's been really good to work with, and he looks like he's just a little bit more reasonably priced. So not that National Property is out of the ballpark or anything like that. They're both competitive, but they both been doing really good work for us. So, okay, if that's okay with you guys.
I move we accept the recommendation to go with DSA for the inspection of the initial and final for the 18 homes and the owner occupied rehab rehabilitation project.
I second.
Any other discussion before the board? All those in favor signify by aye.
Great, thank you. I will let them both know. And then I do have our contract for admin services for the Regional Planning Commission. We had to procure out for our services. No one else submitted for the job.
That sounds convenient.
I guess nobody else wants it. But our contract is for $20,000 for admin and then $5,000 for the environmental review. So a price not to exceed of $25,000. And if you guys, did you get a chance to review that before the meeting? Are you comfortable with signing that tonight?
It's the
not,
same
we
we've
can-
had in the past, right?
Yes. Yeah. Typically, we've done a sub-recipient on the rehab, but then contract for services with the other grants. So it's a little bit different than what we've done, but it's the same one that we always use, so. Okay,
Can we take time to look at it?
Oh, sure, yes, yeah. Do you want me to just,
Well, I mean,
next
we'll look at
meeting,
it.
or-
I mean, if you want to, if not, we can take care of it next meeting without you here.
That's fine,
If that works. If we
Yeah.
have questions, we'll reach out to you.
okay. That sounds good.
Thanks.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Patty. Okay. Faith, you have the floor there.
First of all, I wanted to talk about a couple of events that we're gonna have coming up. We have the Women's Veterans Wellness Retreat. Jefferson County is hosting that this year. It's put on by IDVA. Laura McKee, she's in charge of the Women's Veterans Department with IDVA. So I'll be working with her. That will be the weekend of April 28th through the 30th. We've blocked off 50 rooms at the Clifty State Park. And so that, again, that'll be April 28th through the 30th. So if you know of any women veterans that would be interested, we'd love to have them there. I don't have any flyers yet for it. But we're encouraging all of our women veterans to come up there and, just check out what we're gonna have going on. So we're excited about that. And then this year, our American Legion Post 9 is gonna be hosting the state rally. It's a ride, and it's for American Legion riders and members only. Pre-registration for the full event is $30 or ride. If you just want to ride in the event, it's $40. And that will be June 15th through the 18th. So a couple of big events that Jefferson County is going to be hosting this year. And then we'll get right into my annual report. So for 2022, we had a total of 2,074 claims applications that were filed for veterans, spouses of veterans. We had 1,047 claims for disability, 102 veteran pension claims, 201 widow pension claims. We had 114 county burials or headstone requests. We had 100 property tax discounts for veterans. We signed 109 veterans up with VA healthcare or CHAMP VA for their spouses. We had 135 records requests. That could be anywhere from medical records, DD 214, service treatment records, that kind of thing. And IDVA education state benefits, we had 266 claims for those. We had a total of 4,734 phone calls. We had 2,328 incoming and 2,406 outgoing. We saw 3,449 veterans or family members in our office last year. We had 2,232 in-office appointments. We had 1,062 walk-in appointments. And I had 155 out-of-office appointments, whether that's meetings. I believe I had either 90 or 100 home visits with veterans this last year. So home visits have really ticked up. And then our veteran transportation trips, we had 257 trips for 2022. And that was to local appointments, VA hospital, and all of the VA clinics. So our office has continued efforts in the community outreach and hosting veteran benefit speeches, seminars, and informational discussions in the community at Thornton Terrace, Jewel Place, River Terrace. We still have the Veterans Talk program. That's 9 a.m. on the first Tuesday of every month with WRX. Let's see, in 2022, I was re-elected the vice chair of the Jefferson County Veterans Council. I was selected to sit as an advisory board member for River Terrace and Thornton Terrace. I was elected as the service officer for our American Legion Post 9 here in Madison. I completed the national CVSO training and maintained my accreditation through IDVA and the American Legion. Our office has continued to grow our community outreach through Sympathy and Christmas cards campaign, as well as visiting our veterans in the local nursing homes. We try and get out there at least once a quarter to visit them and bring them little gift bags and cards. Our office fully took over the Veteran Banner Program in 2021. We are continuing with that. So we still have polls available for Veteran Banner applications. So those applications are in our office. If anybody's interested, they can come by and pick those up. I was elected the financial officer for the Indiana CVSO Association. And we still have our VA Video Connect Hub in our office to connect our veterans with their doctors virtually if they choose to do so. We had, and again, these monetary figures, this is just going off of what veterans are bringing into me. So of course, I don't always have all of those figures. So this is grossly understated. Our annual compensation was $1,319,409.71. Retroactive pay was $770,669.89 for total compensation of $2,090.79 or $79.60. Our county burial allowance paid out $20,900 for a total of $2,110,979.60. And we had 100 property tax discounts for our veterans. The Jefferson County Veteran Service Officer continues to play a key role in shaping office efficiency, accuracy, and personalized service to our community's veterans and dependents, as well as equally positive financial results for our veterans and their families. CVSO is proud to have Jefferson County be a leader in the state in knowledge, numbers, and services. Grateful to our community, our county government for the support provided to our office and our goals and efforts. And we look forward to maintaining this commitment and expanding all services to best meet the needs of the area veterans we serve. Nothing.
What do you do in your spare time?
I have no spare time.
I know.
I live the veteran life. I really do, but I love it. And I will continue to say this. I am completely blessed to serve in this position. I love my job. I love that I get to work with veterans and their families. And I'm eternally grateful for it. So
Well, thank you for all that.
thank you
Absolutely.
guys. I
Thanks for
appreciate it.
growing the kind of reach out program that you're doing and stuff. So-
Yeah, our goal this year is to try and get out more into the community with more of the bigger businesses, factories and such. Doing more community outreach with them. Last year, Veterans Day, oh gosh, I probably attended, I don't know, 5 or 6 different events throughout the day. And VSG was one of those events. So we'd like to get in and, have those conversations with those veterans, making sure they're aware that our office is here and that they can come see us. So.
You came over to Dow, the thing that I heard was guys, not necessarily veterans, but relatives of veterans who
Right.
would
Not
then
just
pass that
veterans.
information on to either their grandfather or their uncle or somebody that
Absolutely.
they just wouldn't know about. And so it's just, I mean, you don't know what you don't know what you don't know. And so it takes something like that just to get that information out to folks. And
Right.
maybe,
The PACT Act really opened up a lot of services, especially for our Vietnam veterans and our Gulf War veterans were hugely impacted, but it also opened up VA healthcare for a lot of veterans that may not have qualified before that are going to qualify now. So we're encouraging, I don't care who they are, when you serve, regardless, give our office a call, come in and see us, because again, we don't know until you know.
right.
So.
Okay. Next, we have the 2023 Infinity Voting System Annual Maintenance Agreement. There might be a copy. That would be terrible, wouldn't it? I would think.
Mhm. Yeah, something we have to do.
Okay.
We entered into it on the 1st of January.
Oh, did we? Okay.
Micro vote.
So I think that that's probably the same
Maintenance agreement.
maintenance
all
agreement that we have.
Machines, the
for the
printers,
machines, yeah.
yeah.
We've used for years.
So we'll go for 3 years. Probably what I don't remember. It's in
Mhm.
from January 23 through December 2025.
25. Mhm.
So I move we accept the 2023 Infinity Voting System Annual Maintenance Agreement for 3 years for the sum of $13,000 per year. Like I said, from January 2023 through December 31st, 2025. So
I second that.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by aye. So moved.
I text Tabitha, she said nothing changed from the last
I
debate.
didn't.
Okay. You wanna-
Sure, so I'm not sure exactly, was it September, October? It was October. That we made Trish the interim. Now that things have settled down a little bit, we probably should have taken care of this earlier, but I thought we should go ahead and make a formal announcement that she has been appointed, or we can appoint her the animal shelter director rather than dropping the interim tag. And
Okay,
so I make a motion that we appoint Trish Parker as the animal shelter director.
I have a motion to have a second.
I second that.
Any other discussion before the board? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Thank you for what you've done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Do you have anything
picking up some pieces and
Yeah.
putting together.
putting the puzzle back together?
Well, I still want to talk to the one other vet, just to make sure that that they really are on board with this, but we do have some prices, so we might be making some, adoption price changes.
Okay,
Sounds good.
Yes, okay.
I know that, that had some spay and neuters, but are there other services that we would go to them for that? I mean, I talked about trying to put together something just to get their quotes. You kind of took care of that I'm pretty sure the major ones, but are there other ones that you would? Think about it, okay? And then we could put something together to get some of those other services, so you kind of know what it's gonna be.
That sounds great.
Okay. So,
Are you still wanting the fund for the $75 fee to hold
That's would be part of this, like.
part of that?
The out of county things, like when we have the out of county adoptions with the dog or cats leaving the county, it's hard to get them to come back to our vets. So that $75 account where they give that deposit and then we reimburse them when they get fixed,
I'm gonna give you, yeah,
that would be beneficial in those,
gives you a little teeth to it.
You might
Yeah.
reach out to Pat about that.
I have,
okay. He emailed me just the other day about it and I said, "Oh,
Yeah, I sent him like 2 weeks ago, what
what we talked about.
most of this
yeah.
pricing and stuff, and asking, can I do foster to adopt? And then they would start out with a fostering system, and
Sure.
then when they get fixed, that's when they become adoption, and we're trying to work out all that, but I haven't heard back from him on that yet.
Okay. So we'll reach out to him and just get the legal things worked out so we can do that.
Yeah.
And then
Like
once,
telling, I've contacted like the surrounding, municipal shelters, not the humane societies and stuff like that, and they're doing stuff a whole nother level, but I would like,
I mean, is
at least telling what they're doing.
Sure,
Maybe
I
it'll
mean-
benefit what we can do.
yeah, taking some of those ideas and
Mhm.
'cause each place, I'm sure, has their own unique set of things that they're working
Yeah.
through, so.
Gave me a bunch of ideas.
Well, good.
Okay.
All right, so, like I said, if you could just a list of things. I mean, we can go back and forth and figure out, but the things that we could put in this request for quotations and then just send it out to the local vets or I guess Carroll County as well. and just say, all right, we're just looking for something that we can go on to kind of budget for things.
Just so y'all know, those prices did not include Carroll County in it. It was just the four.
Sure, I figured. And if that's, you know, if you decide that's the best route for us, then that's okay too. I mean, we just.
Yeah.
Get some of
Yeah,
that,
it is,
those
yeah.
questions. Well, like I said, if you can give me a list, I can find the other stuff and get that put together and we can work that out and get it ready to send out to folks, just so we have you have something to go on.
Like the vets here, they want to establish that client relationship. So they don't want me as the shelter to spay and neuter and to get everything pre-done. They want me to make sure I'm setting it up with the client coming with the animal so they can establish. So that kind of,
Sure, generates business,
yeah, it does.
and that's fine. We don't want to put them out of business,
Right,
so.
nope, not at all. So that kind of changes my thought process where we've got to get them all fixed before we get them out the door. And so now it's like, well, wait a minute, let's back up because that's what they want.
Well, I think we can work with them, and I think with your kind of a foster to adoption
Yes.
program, that takes care of some of that as well.
Yep.
'Cause
I think so.
Well,
He's just got to get it worded right.
sure,
Right.
I understand, because I don't, I don't order right.
Yeah.
Okay. Lindsay, I know you waiting with bated breath to come up here, so.
All right, so I sent you guys an email this afternoon. That included all 5 of the candidates for the Board of Health. And the recommendations from the board. So the board's recommending Dr. Scott Murphy.
Except,
He will accept.
okay,
Yes.
good. I
Oh,
like
that
him.
was good.
I don't know, yeah,
So,
he's taking care of the last 2 years. I'm kind of partial to him.
okay,
Okay, cool.
so if we could get a vote on it.
Okay, this comes as a recommendation from the Jefferson County Board of Health to have Scott Murphy fill an appointment for another doctor that is leaving. And that will be from February 17, 2023 to December 31st, 2023. So coming
It is
recommendations.
finished, they're supposed to finish the current term, the board.
The one that he's taking, they replace. Yeah.
Yes, they have to finish that.
What's
before
the
they-
normal, just
3
3
years.
years?
Okay.
Probably jumped it just less than a year, didn't he? No.
Okay,
All right, let me go. You wanna go?
Go ahead.
So I move we accept the Jefferson County Board of Health recommendation for Dr. Scott Murphy to fill the term from February 17, 2023 through December 31st, 2023.
A second.
okay, I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Unopposed,
Thanks.
so be it.
I'm gonna need that sheet with the signature on. I gotta send it to the state. Ideally, just like something.
You need this, I guess.
So had any more questions or answers on this new thing coming down with the Board of Health? I'm getting emails and calls, I'm just not sure which way to go.
Okay, well, I mean, I can give you a brief synopsis of it.
Well, just your
I don't-
feelings, because I mean,
My
in the end, you're,
I have to read it.
right,
My feelings are that almost meet. The goal here is to bring every local health department in the state of Indiana up to a certain standard of care. So they're calling them key or core services. So they want every health department that you walk into to have the same options and the same availability. Some will be above and beyond. Some of our bigger cities offer a lot more. Because they're actually funded by city versus county. So where we stand currently, we are top 6 in the state per capita. Jefferson County is, so we're doing really well in public health, so to say. for the state of Indiana. Indiana itself
45th, right?
is 45th in the country, so we're, in general, Indiana isn't doing great, but in comparison to the rest of
Which
Indiana.
we will
we're-
compare ourselves to the other 92 counties.
Right.
We do the majority of the core services that they're wanting. There's a few things we'll have to do. There's a few hirings that would have to happen to meet the minimum that they're wanting. So they want a full-time public health nurse. Right now, our public health nurse does that and also our emergency prep. So we would need someone to fill in for that emergency prep role. The full-time school nurse liaison, so we have a nurse that works with all the schools in the county to try to just help bridge that gap of needs at each school. That person will have to be on staff full-time. Right now, we have a grant for that. The idea is they're renewing that grant for 1 more year to bridge the gap in the hopes that this money gets appropriated. And then this funding would take over
In the
that
future.
grant. So in the future, that grant would not exist. Currently, this, I call it a grant, it's not a grant. The money will be ours. We will keep it, it will roll from year to year as long as we ask for it to keep rolling. It's not a grant. Just like our local health maintenance fund and trust fund account that we have now, that money carries over each year as long as we request that it carries over. We have to ask permission to use carryover money, but it's there for our use if we so choose. So I think since we're already meeting most of the requirements, that I think it's a really good fit for us. We could end up getting a substantial amount of money for,
Yep.
we
We
don't have to put any initial investment in. Our county budget wise, we already meet the minimum requirement that they are requiring. It's a split. So each county has to match a certain amount.
Money, we're already there.
We're already at that number. So it's not gonna be any additional money that our county is gonna be out. So for me, as long as we have everyone's support in hiring a couple additional people to make this work, it's a considerable amount of money. So I think it's good for our community and hiring a few extra people, as long as we get that sign off from you guys and the approval from council to make sure that we hire the right people to put in that spot. I don't think it'll be a big issue.
The state funding is to cover those
Yeah, the
costs. Yeah,
state funding will cover those positions.
so I mean, I've been told, there's really no strings attached, but I have to chuckle because there's always strings attached, so.
There's no
come on.
strings
That's a gray area.
attached at the local health departments, but even then,
I mean, is it just, okay, you have to add these other services that
yes.
you don't now have.
Yes, and most of the services that they want added are things that we already cover. We just might have to step up our game a little bit. They want us to have more of a finger on like vital records, so our vital records coordinator would need to be, she already works with the hospital, she already works with the coroner. There's meetings, there are already meetings in this county about infant deaths. So we don't have to orchestrate that meeting. But this new thing is saying that we have to participate. But that's easy enough. So there's things that we could add in that we're not doing that really will take minimal effort on our staff. So for us, the major strings would just be making sure that we're all in unison, that this is something that we want. So when we go to hire these additional people paid for under this new
Sure.
money.
In year 2, we
That
don't go, yeah, we're getting out.
Yeah, and then we've already
Sorry.
signed, so just making
Okay.
sure that we're all on the same page is really. That's really it for us and our strings in this county, but for the most part. It's kind of
So I hate to put, and it doesn't have to be for like next meeting. When do we have to decide by?
well, right now it's been.
It's
hasn't been
Sure, it
appropriated.
hadn't
So
gone through
once
that,
some
yeah.
money gets appropriated
Appropriated.
to the state, then we'll have to
Do they have a time period by the?
April.
April?
I
Do you-
don't know that I have the exact.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was. Would it be too much? So we can get people on the same page, just, it doesn't have to be a full-blown report or anything, but just kind of what you told us, some bullet points on these are the things,
Yeah.
just so we,
have
because I think,
Pages I can bring in from the state that gives some basic information. I can come up with.
just the specific things that you.
Yeah.
That you talked about, that way, we should be on the same page, so we can make that,
Absolutely.
because I'm sure, I mean, you know, there are gonna be some counties that. It's gonna be too much and don't want to do it.
Some
but-
counties, I think that they're running on such a small staff that I don't know that this is something that they will be able to.
Sure, because they're gonna have to come up with that match, right?
Yeah.
The
The match itself would be too much. I think the money influx would be too much for some counties. We're at a sweet spot, I think, that where it's just it's one step up for us. It's not a huge leap. So,
Okay,
So-
and, go ahead.
Basically what you're saying, we would be able to expand on what we're doing anyway.
Yep.
Make it better.
yes,
Okay.
yeah, so I think there's a lot of benefit in we have a lot of health programs in this area. We have, substance abuse, cigarettes, so smoking, tobacco, car seat programs. We have a whole bunch of health and wellness for kids throughout the county and activities. So all these things are things that the health department could potentially have their finger on the pulse with. But there are already organizations in this county
Doing that.
that do that. So this would allow us to either, help their plans and help further their plans. It could help us expand some of the programs we already have. We have car seat programs that we don't get to fully utilize because we are reliant on the state to fund how many car seats we have. So that would help in that aspect. Right now, our school nurse liaison has worked with some of the dentist office in the area, and she's gotten some supplies donated. So every second grader in Jefferson County is gonna get some dental supplies and little workbook, little work coloring sheets and little workbook stuff, but it's just second grade. And she had to work really hard to get those. So this money would allow her to be able to work with the schools because they have limited funding for the education and they house our kids. They have the kids, they have their attention. And we could utilize that with more funding, so.
So just a summary, and if you want to add kind of your thoughts on. The positives that we would get, then I think that would be a good sell.
Absolutely.
So, like I said, we're getting emails on the other side as well, and I've looked through some of it, but unless I'm doing those sorts of things.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep,
I wouldn't want-
we can come up with a summary, pros. And any potential cons that we might see and how we would combat those or if they would affect us.
Oh, combat. The pain, Put on the camouflage, we're going to. Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Lindsay. Mr. Morgan.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Just a couple quick things. I know that, I apologize, I wasn't at the county council meeting on Tuesday. Heather sent me an email. I know that Commissioner Little, Commissioner Lee were asked about the status of the state disaster relief for Brush Report project. And that is still in the governor's office. At the end of last week, Department of Homeland Security sent a request to County Highway asking for the status of the individual projects. And if any of those have been completed yet, and not speaking for Bobby or anybody at County Highway, but the response back was that nothing had been completed, but several were underway and currently being worked on. So I don't know why or if that's important as to what the governor's decision is about releasing that fund, but it's not been approved, it's not been denied as of yet, so it's still in the governor's office. Also, I'm sorry.
So, I had a call from the governor's office on, but maybe it's time to call back and say,
Might be.
hey,
But I do know that there's been some communication between the governor's office and DHS and county highway, so about the project status. That's all I know. Also, I left a copy of the courthouse emergency plan. It's just time for the annual review. That review's been done. There's no indication for any necessary changes or corrections or any additions. You can sign that this evening or take it under advisement. There's no hurry. So there's no changes. It's exactly what it was the prior year. So if that's there for your reading and learning. And if there's anything else I can answer, or that's all I have. Oh,
Sinuses or?
you know, it's a long story.
You haven't been,
Give me
you
a
haven't been in-
Palestine.
yeah, you haven't been in.
No.
Ohio, have you?
That rumor media while you're here. No, I've not been anywhere near the Ohio, Pennsylvania line. Actually, I was cleaning the residue from the furniture polish on that table before your meeting, and I did use something that apparently had some bleach in it, and it got up into my nose, and
Yeah.
it kind of cleaned everything a little bit ago.
Yeah.
So I've been coughing and gagging ever since. So anyway, the lights at the Hanover building, I didn't mount the one that you
That's fine.
had us try, but I did put it out and let it charge and turned it on, and you're right, it's pretty impressive. So I did order 3 more for the other 3 sides of the building. They've come in, they're a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger. I think the
Oh,
one
that's
that you
good.
had are like
That's fine.
20,000 lumens. So it ought to be pretty bright, but we're gonna work on getting those put up here in the very near future too. So,
Good deal.
so thank you for that.
We won't be held hostage for 30 years on them.
Probably what I do.
Mhm.
So they've been purchased, they've been ordered, and they're in, they've just not been installed yet, so. Anything else?
So you said any changes to
No,
this?
no changes. It's the same as it was last year.
I move we accept the Jefferson County Courthouse Emergency Plan for 2023.
I second.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Yeah, your signature's on the. And then you just give that to Heather, she can make copies and whatever she needs to do, and then give me a copy as well. I have the original. Thank you.
Thanks, Troy. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Okay. Anybody? Public have anything? Mr. Bramer, you have anything?
Tomorrow we will have the department head management training for all the department heads that are
Next door.
under the commissioner control next door. So trying to help folks. We hire folks, put them in positions and go swim.
Mhm.
Not always easy. So trying to do some of that. Hopefully it'll be helpful. I think so. The guy that's going to give it was helpful when we saw him at road school. So and I know that Bobby's so. Well, the plan commission did a final kind of review on the unified development ordinance. And so that draft is out on the county's website for people to review, and there will be a meeting on this, a public hearing on the 7th of March, the next plan commission meeting at the Ivy Tech, where we held the last kind of public review. So that will be for the plan commission's formal approval, and once they're finished, then they'll send it to us and so. Forward on the stormwater management ordinance, but just trying to get some interviews completed so we can kind of start detailing things for Jefferson County.
I rode with Bobby all morning in this rain to kind of see some of our problem areas. Pretty interesting. We get, what'd you say, 2 inches of rain, your rain gauge? Right at it?
No, I had 2 this morning.
Yeah, just this
At
morning.
10 when I left.
So, yeah, so at that time of morning, there was lots of ditches running out on the road and some couple road closures here out towards Deputy Pike. Your area, isn't it? So just riding with him and looking at our roads and talking to him about what's going on at the garage. And some of the guys in and out there. It's pretty interesting. We got a lot to do. We wrote a couple of roads where we've got, where they've turned into gravel road conversion programs, so. It addressed and stopped and visited with some of those folks. We want to keep that gravel road conversion going. Appreciate the people. Bobby said he appreciates the people who are using the website to turn in their road concerns. That's picking up. So, you know, I am getting more techie. So you can use those kind of things. If your ditch is clogged up, get on the website, turn that ticket, make a ticket that doesn't go away, or a phone call, you might forget. By the time you get to that road, stopped and picked up 10 other limbs like we did today. By the time you get to that ditch, you forgot where you were going. So that website and that ticket really helps get your concern done. So he appreciated that. So did Vicky. And then we should have hopefully we'll have a better update on the treatment train process at the next commissioner meeting. I'll see if I can't get Dr. Hicks to come and give us an update personally. That's all.
Okay. Speaking of ordinance, I've been looking at some noise ordinances and kind of narrowed one down. I'm gonna have Pat look at it and we'll tweak it. We'll get the sheriff, but it will kind of help curtail some of the issues we're having in the county, not putting a damper on anybody's fun or anything, but the neighbors will have a little recourse at night or something, basically. So we're not going to reinvent the wheel on it, but we'll be looking at that. I was out at the jail again today, had the meeting, and things are really starting to look impressive. The drywall, the offices are taking shape. It's really coming along. We're ahead of schedule. Some of the personal equipment stuff that goes into the jail, John and I have got most of that ordered, and like the furniture and stuff. I talked to Harold and he's letting us store it right in the warehouse next to the jail. So once we get to the point where those offices are available to us, we'll just cart that right over and we'll be that much ahead of the game. So kudos to Harold on that for allowing us, but it's taking shape and we're really getting there. So gonna be quite an efficient piece of property when we're done.
I'd like been there today. The meeting was in them, didn't it?
And we had 2 state jail inspectors there today. Actually, one was from DOC over here, and they weren't there to fuss or pick or anything, just looking at stuff and saying, maybe you ought to tweak this or that. And now's the time to do it. And they also offered to help when we actually get down to the nuts and bolts of moving the inmates. We can use some of their buses, make 1 or 2 trips instead of.
Get Ron's name. So
Yes, he's the occupancy guy.
he is the occupancy.
But that was good news, but they were very helpful. So
Good. So
Anyway.
to get them down and looking at it. And so
but I know Ovation's got the switches. They have the wireless access points. That's all on site, and we're on the build for the fiber. And Chris said as soon as fiber has light on it, he wants to get in there and get stuff up and going.
okay.
So we'll try and stay 2 steps ahead of it. So that's all I've got.
Mommy, because you said ordinances, I know like when the shelter board, y'all were working on new animal ordinances. Like before, where does that, because I can't, am I just going on the ones that from 2007, those old ones? Or is the new ones somewhere where I can continue to work on those?
I don't know that we've actually,
I don't think anything was drafted.
nothing's ever been put into play per se, so I'll
But
find
that's
out for
something
you. Yes,
we need to get started again, I guess. so.
yep, absolutely. Whether they're tweaked or not, we need to bring them up to speed, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll put that on our bucket list. Yeah, my 55-gallon drum.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's what I would have put on my bucket list. Animal shelter ordinances, that's what I'm waiting on when we get there.
okay.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second that.
All those in favor signify.
Uh,
Thanks, everybody. I
Thanks.
appreciate it.